Hey there! Welcome to the 5th episode of Red Moon Roleplaying. Before this episode, we'd just like to take a moment and say thank you for all the encouragement and kind words so far. They warm our cold hearts like a delightful Molotov cocktail warms the morgue on a Sunday morning. We thought you might like to know that we have a Patreon now. If you appreciate and want to encourage our work, check it out there at patreon.com. Patrons get access to extra material like a bonus podcast where we answer your questions about the campaign and role-playing games in general. For the curious and the hardcore gamers, there's also the chance to listen to the raw, unedited versions of our gaming sessions, long before they turn into episodes. Thanks again for listening, and now, on to episode 5 of Red Moon Roleplaying. What the hell is this? My skin feels tightened, and these strange spots are appearing before my very eyes. Is this how it started for Magda as well? I didn't even touch her, but something is clearly spreading to me. Come to think of it, Magda's apartment door had been picked, and she sure as hell wasn't this bad when we met her a couple of days ago. Did someone give this to her? And did that someone just now give it to me as well? If she was killed by these same spots, then I'd better act fast. And here I thought people coming to shoot us was gonna be our biggest problem. This is Red Moon Roleplaying.
The EMTs have just left together with Björn, and you are left standing alone in the apartment with the caretaker of the building, a woman named Lena. She's a stout woman in her 60s, dressed in a cleaning robe and boots. Oh my, poor Magda, the state she was in. Well, I know Magda likes her books quite a bit. Perhaps you can take a few and bring to the hospital? She'll need that as she recovers, I think.
Of course, I could do that, yes. I'll do that. And I sort of just stumble back into the apartment.
She sighs a bit, shrugs, and says, well, good night. I just hope I can sleep after all this excitement. And she disappears, closes the door behind you, and you're now left alone in Magda Orlova's apartment in Berlin. You're standing in the living room. There's a grey leather couch that sits under the window here. A table and 2 easy chairs are arranged in front of it. A half-unpacked suitcase resting on one of the easy chairs. Heaps of clothing lie scattered across the sofa. There's several closed bookcases that are filled with leather-bound copies of Russian and German fiction with glass doors. One of them hangs open, a volume having been removed. You saw this already when you first came into this room. Carver, close to where that book was taken from are books that have a very distinctly occult look.
I head over to them and just start leafing through some of the titles.
The occult literature deals mostly with dreams, dream interpretation, and dream magic. Among others, you find Compendium Somnia by Philip Höningberg, Sogni Secreti by Gaspare Cirelli, and Somniant ex Inferno by Andronicus. Quite famous names within occult circles. When you're looking through the books, you also notice that in another one of the bookcases there's a photograph of what must be a young Magda. She's together with a man on this picture that you also think you recognize. This looks like Philip Kramer. Maybe this is from the 1960s? They appear to be in their mid-20s and they look to be in love, if you can tell such a thing from a picture.
I consider the picture for a moment. I just start to frown to myself. I can't help but feel that he has all the answers. Possibly. I look at the books, and I look at to see if there's any sort of place I can just sort of put them, like a bag or something. I just start trying to collect a few of the key volumes. Although, to be honest with you, I'm intending to read them myself and not give them to Magda. Something tells me she's beyond that sort of help now.
You start to pack up the books, and you notice in the same bookcase where the picture of Magda and Philip is, there's another one, another photograph framed. Here it's Magda and another man, and then there's a wedding photo of the two of them.
I look closer at this photograph.
You look at it and you see that there's small text written on it. It says, Magda and Lev, 1964. This must be her husband, the one that Irene said died. Something about black boils, right?
I take a moment to sit down and rub my face. This situation is just getting more and more intense, more and more unpleasant. To be honest, I don't really want to be involved.
This is when you realize that close by you've put down Magda's diary, the one that you found in her bedroom. The apartment is quiet.
I reach over to the diary and start to look through the most recent entries.
The diary details the period from August 12th, 1990 to September the 5th of 1991. You're now quite used to reading Magda's handwriting and understand her sort of cryptic way of writing the entries. You find several references to Philip and the others, together with Magda's concerns for her deteriorating health. A very common note to find is, we went to Slavic A to meet the others. As you flip through the diary, you notice that further back, the notes become more sporadic. Only every second or third day contains entries. Here are some of the excerpts that stand out to you. 15th of August, 1990. Back in Berlin. Nothing seems the same, though maybe they are. Philip took me to SA, completely different from when we started. No one wants to dig up the past, least of all Philip. But it's there, beneath everything, like a dark shape lurking beneath the water's surface. Helga was nice. I will invite her over. 20th of October, 1990. Talked to Schroeder, overly confident about economic stabilization. Promised to do an article for Neue G about it. Philip showed up in the evening, first time in a month. Excited. I think the police are after him. I don't know why I put up with him. Irene's wondering if I'm moving back to Hamburg. I'm considering it. 2nd of February, 1991. Went along with an occult ritual at Esses last night. Totally harmless, but I still got nightmares after. Shadows. Trapped. Cold. Like something I remember, but I can't picture it. Woke up at 4 and got up. It's snowing. 24th of March, 1991. Philip's having nightmares about men tying him up and torturing him. Tried telling him the heroin only makes it worse. It's no good. Annual meeting for SA. I made it onto the board. Didn't really want the role, but it's not a heavy workload. Need to read my dream book. 3rd of May, 1991. Some secrecy over at SA again. A journalist called me up with the most absurd accusations of what's going on over there. Feels like I'm losing control of it all. Itching all over my body at night. 7th of July, 1991. The boils are spreading. Dr. Semmelweis says it's just my imagination. Am I going mad? Philip can see them. The face in the dream, I can almost recognize it. I've got to get out of here. 22nd of July, 1991. I don't dare tell anyone about the worms. 6 doctors say I'm delusional. Got boxes of Valium. Thought of taking them all at once, but I can't bring myself to do it. I called Irene and told her I'm coming back to Hamburg. 13th of August, 1991. Long message waiting on the answering machine. Philip ranting about curses and nightmares, about men cutting him to pieces. I didn't have the energy to listen to him. Too tired. I haven't slept in weeks. This has all got to end soon. That is the final entry. How does reading all of this make you feel?
Uneasy. Unhappy. I can't help but feel that I'm missing some connection here. Kramer, though, clearly has answers, although the way he's described in some of these entries, I confess I was thinking perhaps if anyone was doing this curse, it was perhaps him. But is it possible he's just a victim as well? The fact that she was involved in black magic, I wish she hadn't been. No one should be involved in it if they can't help it. I feel like I need a moment to just collect my thoughts. I stand up and I just go to the bathroom just to splash some water on my face. I just feel so headachy, so nauseous.
You enter the bathroom. You find the bathtub is half filled with cold water and soap. The floor is damp and wet. There's towels thrown on the floor. The whole room reeks of perfume. There's a sink in here. You bend down to wash your face, and it helps a bit. Makes you feel more awake, clearer. You look up and you see your face in the mirror. It's an older, ornate mirror, painted in gold. You realize this way too late. The icy, cold wind blows snow all over the street. The small pieces of ice it brings with it stings as they hit your face. You try to protect it with your small, glove-covered hands. Your clothes are thick and heavy. On the square lie rows and rows of bodies covered by blankets. They have frozen to death or starved. There's that constant, droning artillery fire in the distance. Some of the blankets are bloodied. Pieces of meat have been cut off from them by human hands. Meat that has become sustenance. Sustenance to survive this hell for yet another day. You realize that you are starving and emaciated, just a child. Your belly is growling. That's when you hear meowing, the meowing of a cat. It stares at you with its big eyes. You see yourself in the mirror again, away from the frozen hellscape. You're staring, but something is different. Large black and red boils cover your neck. They are moving. They're moving, Carver.
Back away.
They burst, and large yellow larvae crawl out of the boils and from your mouth and eyes. Roll to keep it together.
15.
This isn't real. You grit your teeth. You're okay again, but there are itchy purple rashes on your arms. You're not alone. Jenkins is sitting in front of you in the bathroom, looking at you with his big eyes.
I take a moment to take a deep breath. I retreat from the bathroom quickly, not daring to look back at that surface. I look at my arm, and I look at Jenkins, and I just reach over, just to give him a little stroke on the head. Jenkins, what's happening to me, buddy? What's happening?
He has no answers to give you, but he looks at you with his big eyes and he starts to purr.
It calms me a little as I go back to sit down. I think to myself, fine. I didn't want this to happen again. I can't ever get away from it. But if that's what you want to do, if that's the game you want to play, I'll play it. Fine. Fine. I make sure to pack away the diary and the books I've collected. And I start moving towards the outside. I'm heading towards the car. I'm going to head to the hospital. I'm going to meet up with Bjorn. We're going to discuss what's happening. And I'm going to do something about it. I, of course, wait for Jenkins to hop in back. I don't even question how he got in. I don't care right now.
You start the Mercedes and you head off to the hospital. You arrive at the Max Bürger Hospital in Schlossgarten. It's close to the Charlottenburg Palace. And you park your car.
Taking a moment to collect myself, I will head straight to the reception and I'll start asking about a recent patient who should have just come in, Magda all over.
It doesn't take you long to find Björn. What is Björn doing right now?
He's just sitting on a chair outside the operation room.
Björn, Magda's body was transferred to the forensic department to confirm the cause of death, given the, well, somewhat unnatural circumstances after her death had first been pronounced. You remember that when the gurney she was on entered the elevator to go down, and the doors closed, she looked so very, very small beneath the blanket.
Wasn't her body eaten by yellow larvae, or was she back to normal again, or what happened? What did she look like after the end?
She was covered up. You couldn't see. The blanket was bloody. And you see Carver.
Ah, Carver, hey.
Bjorn, hello. Magda, where is she? How's her condition?
I'm sorry, she didn't make it. They barely got her into the operation room, and I'm glad you didn't have to witness that. That was I obviously finding it hard to find my words.
I see. She didn't make it. Damn it. I start pacing the room.
Did you find anything else about this curse, or
curse?
Or whatever they call it in the book, some sort of
the stream curse ritual. Yes, Bjorn. I go over to him, quite steady now. How are you? How are you feeling? I'm sorry to ask this, but what sort of things are you seeing? Are you seeing anything strange? Anything you can't explain? It could be important.
Well, apparently, everything we saw, everything you and I saw, the black things, the worms or whatever they were, apparently was just us seeing them. And once we got here, and I saw her in the operation room, she had covered. There were these maggots starting to eat her flesh, and no one seemed to react. No one saw anything, and
I held up a hand. I understand, Bjorn. That's enough. It's okay. And I put my hand on his shoulder to kind of offer support.
I don't know why I'm seeing all this, and I'm not sure why everyone else isn't, but
Bjorn, I'm going to try and be as honest with you as I can. I don't have all the answers, but I'm afraid I believe that we may be in a lot of trouble. And the only way to get out of it is going to be to fight fire with fire, so to speak.
Yeah, well, if that includes throwing Molotovs and, what was it, walking around circles with blood and soot? Sure. But, this is not, obviously we're in physical trouble. People are looking for us, but this dream curse and this Carver, is this contagious? Is this some kind of sickness, some kind of disease?
I don't think that's how it works. I think someone deliberately has done this to us. That's how the ritual works. It's a curse, and the only way to break the curse is, as you read, we need to find the people who put it on us. I know this sounds crazy, and I wouldn't be saying it so casually if I didn't think you're past the point of not believing. But basically, the stuff in that book, I believe there's a lot of reality to it. I've experienced this sort of thing before.
I look at Kama for a bit, as if I'm realizing that he knows more than I would like him to know, but then I just nod. Right. So, what do we gotta do?
Well, a few things. First, we're going to need some protection. I've not dealt with this sort of thing for a while, because, quite frankly, I don't want to deal with it, but now we're dealing with it, we're going to need something. I'll have to have a think about it. Another thing we can do for the moment is perhaps deal with some of the things slightly more normal. The people. I think I know what they might want. Some of them, anyway. God knows which people are which people at this point.
Slavic Association?
They're definitely people we need to investigate. We need to talk to Philip Kramer. That is vital as well.
Yeah.
I need to find an individual by the name of Maizoa.
Maizoa, that sounds Japanese.
Yes, he's just some business collector I know. If I can find the book that I gave him and get it back to someone, I'm really hoping that will get rid of some of these people after us. Whether or not it's connected to the bigger picture, I have no idea.
Are you talking about Meyerson and his goons?
Yes, my colleague Hans Weber. I'd hate to say it, after the shit he's put me through, but he did technically save my life last night. So, maybe I owe him.
This book that he wanted, was that one of those that was supposed to end up in my collection?
No. This was just some stupid little art book. Dreams in the City That Never Sleeps by Cameron Wright. I have no idea what all the fuss is about.
Okay, if you think you could, somehow get that back to this Meyerson, I don't know how this matters to all this, though I am kind of curious.
I believe the people regarding this curse don't need to send hitmen after us. We're already infected.
Okay. I stand up and I just brush off my clothes. I'm so tired. But we should probably find a place to get some sleep and perhaps get something to eat. Did you bring my my case from the apartment?
Of course.
Good.
I packed up everything I thought useful. I got some books. I'm going to need to read those, I think, at least a little bit before I go to sleep tonight.
Sure. My car is at...
outside.
Yeah. All right, so let's get that. I know some all right places here in Berlin. We should be able to get some rest.
Excellent. And Bjorn?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry for just what might come. Just remember that.
I look at him questioningly, but I'm too tired and I just nod.
As you're about to leave, a slender man in his mid-30s comes up to you. He's got black hair and his hairline starts quite high up. Well-tailored dark clothes with cuts that are out of fashion reveal themselves from under the doctor's robes that he's wearing. He seems weirdly excited. You're the next of kin? My name is Hans-Georg Richter. I'm the pathologist here, working in the morgue. You are the next of kin of Magda Orlova?
I look at Carver and turn back and... Yeah, sure. We are friends.
And he looks down at your arms and your neck area, and then he looks up again. Okay, I know that you think you are going crazy, but let me reassure you that you're not. I have seen the same things. The black and the red boils. The larvae. There are certain things that only a mind attuned to the weird is able to see, and I believe our minds must share this quality.
I'm sorry, you are,
Dr. Richter, I'm the pathologist here. I actually have some theories about what happened, and I've actually been able to dig up some background information on Mrs. Orlova that might help. Would you be willing to follow me down to the forensic department to discuss this in a more, he looks around, private environment?
Dr. Richter. Well, yeah, we were sort of on our way, but I'm sure it would be relevant to hear what you have to say. What do you say, Carver?
I frown a little. I'm not really sure about this man, but I nod and go, very well, I suppose. I'd be interested in hearing your views, Doctor.
Excellent. He leads you towards an elevator, the same one that Magda's body on the gurney left with. He motions for you to follow him in. What do you do?
I nod and I step in.
Before stepping in, can my sixth sense kick in now?
Roll for your sixth sense.
10.
That means that you get
2 edges.
yes. Would you like to use an edge now?
Sense whether someone wishes good or ill towards you.
You study the man. He's standing there pressing the button to keep the doors open. He looks at you a little bit questioningly. You see no malice in his eyes. You see curiosity, like excitement and curiosity. There's so much death that he must be working with every day, and he probably has just worked on Magda Orlova. Yet there's this happiness, this kind of glee within him, almost as if he really, really loves his job. But he does not seem to have any malice towards you or wish that anything bad happens to you. He seems to want to help you.
Very well, I enter the lift.
You enter the elevator and it descends into the lower levels of the hospital. He leads you through corridors with flashing fluorescent lights, cracked concrete, and water-damaged ceilings and walls. There's a painted red line that marks your path on the side wall. Stairs and corridors go up and down in all directions, and you start to feel disoriented. Tell me, do you see this sort of thing often? Demons, UFOs, lizard men? He looks dead serious.
I say absolutely nothing.
I'm sorry. UFOs, lizard men? Is this supposed to be some kind of joke?
Oh, anyway, don't worry about that. He continues on, and you eventually arrive at an unassuming steel door with a sign that says Morgue. He opens the door and leads you into a large room with steel slabs, instruments, trays, and powerful lights. The floor is concrete, and the plastered white walls and flickering fluorescent lights add to the room's harshness. Around the room, doors lead to a large forensic library, showers, coolers, and a restroom. He takes you down one corridor, past a small lunchroom and a cold room with an embalming vat. The lingering stench of formaldehyde is suffocating. You finally stop in a room with 10 stainless steel examination tables. Magda's body lies on one of them. Her body is covered in blood. Translucent yellow fluid trickles from ruptured boils. Several yellowish worms have been placed in large glass bottles beside the table, along with an array of surgical equipment. He looks at it and then looks towards you. I'm sorry, does this make you uncomfortable? He says somewhat matter-of-factly.
You've actually collected them? I go over and look at one of the jars.
Yes, we have. Fascinating things, aren't they? He points to the larvae. They're grotesque and malformed. Well, here they are. Invisible to anyone but us, as far as I can tell.
So who are we?
Sorry, I didn't think. Let's have our conversation in the lunchroom instead of here. Clearly, this is distracting.
No. Now I want to look at this. I follow Carver up and I look at the glass bottles as well.
They are as you remember seeing them. Now they're not moving anymore. They don't look like anything you have ever seen in nature. There's hints of something that that evolution might have brought forth, but this is clearly different. I can't exactly say what, but there's just something very, very wrong about these beings.
There's something here. These colors, the yellow and the black, it reminds me of... I turn to Carver. It reminds me of some of the things I saw when, back at my apartment. Do you remember the door? The knockings?
I remember the dreams.
I don't know if I want to call it a dream, but when I opened the door, there was this being standing there with black and yellow tentacles.
I'm afraid we're going to be entering a period where reality and dream are one and the same.
Do you think that this dream being could have come from something like that? Some of these larvae, were they growing into these things that some can see and some can't?
I don't know for sure. I turn to the doctor. What's your view?
I have a number of theories. Let me get some books. I have some reference material that I can actually point out. This is not the first time these things have been seen, but it's better if we take this in the lunchroom. I'm a bit hungry, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm starving.
Very well.
He leads you to the lunchroom. The lunchroom has a small kitchen, a refrigerator, and a dining table. There's a note in the kitchen reminding the staff that their mother does not work here and that they must clean up after themselves. There's a TV hanging from the ceiling that's been left on. It's showing an episode of Sandmenschen, the popular East German puppet show. Given its strong communist themes, you're somewhat surprised it's still shown. Oh, and that must mean that it's pretty much morning now. Have a seat. He pours up 2 cups of coffee and offers you a basket of Danish pastries.
I go over and have a seat, and I take one of them and start eating.
I just sit down. I've not got an appetite at the moment.
He picks up and swallows a small white capsule, medicine of some kind, and takes a bite of his pastry. He swallows. So, I first encountered these symptoms in medical literature, describing Russian soldiers after World War II. The author, Lyubimov, I think, he diagnosed these as intestinal worms, but judging from the description, it was something completely different. Wait, I'll go get the book. Will make more sense if I show you, I think. Disappears out of the room. On the wall, there is a poster of the German TV star David Hasselhoff standing by the remnants of the Berlin Wall. He's wearing a scarf looking like piano chords and a leather jacket covered in light diodes. The poster is marked, "Looking for Freedom, Happy New Year, 1990. It's actually been signed in gold marker by David himself.
Huh. Look at that guy. Did you see the concert?
No, I didn't.
It was pretty good.
I offer a smile, but I'm clearly not really in a small talk mood.
Dr. Richter quickly returns with 2 books, puts them on the dining table. The first is Valentin Lyubimov's The Diseases of the War, a pathological overview. It's written in Russian. He flicks to the pictures of this pox. You recognize the same boils and larvae that Magda suffered. See here, yes? He then flips open another book, puts it next to it. The other book is Antony Toporov's The Curse of Diseases, a book written in English from 1922. Richter shows a page with pictures of bodies covered in boils. Now this is not one of the books that we would have in our library here. This is a book about curses, black magic, as it were. There's a detailed clinical description of the disease's progression in here, which is what makes it interesting. I noticed similarities to Lyubimov's description of the disease. Toporov witnessed the infection in St. Petersburg before the 1917 revolution. In his book, he claims it's caused by a curse, which can be dispelled by magic. He claims that a witch performed the ritual that produced the symptoms. And look here. The power acquired from their suffering can later be utilized in other magical rituals. Be that as it will, it shows that the parasite existed in Russia. Your friend was Russian, right?
Yeah. Miss Orlova was Russian.
This is a very interesting topic of research, especially for a doctor such as yourself. Do your other colleagues not have views on you looking into black magic?
Well, let's put it like this. There's a reason why I am in the basement and not, in the upper levels of the hospital. Regardless, I'm certain this is a rare parasitic infection that only afflicts patients who suffer from something called Herald syndrome, a rare immunodeficiency disorder. The immunodeficiency isn't dangerous in of itself, but it opens the door for certain parasites. I have to conduct other tests on Mrs. Orlova to be certain. When do you think she was infected? Do you have any knowledge as to what she was doing that might help us understand this?
I shake my head. I don't know. Carver, did you see anything in her diaries?
I have a think about it. And then remark, it's possibly to do with an organization known as the Slavic Association. Do you know of them?
Now that you mention it, I have heard rumors about this association and some of their leaders. I mean, could just be rumors, but something about them being connected with black magic. I think maybe the ones who are really in the occult circles here in Berlin might be able to tell you a bit more. But I do believe that they're into some weird stuff, some stuff that this organization probably shouldn't be dealing with. I don't think that's what they are set up to do.
I'll tell you this: the Slavic Association, it's a what do you call it? A gathering and a meeting, social place. I think it started as for Russians in Germany. That's how I understood it. But if we put two and two together here, it's like you are saying that this might have originated somewhere in Russia, and then perhaps it was somehow brought here, and I don't know, flourished within this Slavic Association.
That's possible. So, judging from the Lyubimov and Toporov documents, the incubation period can vary from 2 to 6 months. So, probably Magda was infected, at least that far back. Now, what I could see from Lyubimov and Toporov is that they didn't really know of a remedy, but Toporov suggests magic. He suspected that the course of the disease depended on the rituals that caused it. I lean towards this explanation as well, as people with limited perception and intellect cannot see the symptoms. So this is clearly something supernatural. His gaze drifts to your necks and your arms, where these purplish spots have started to appear.
I frown a little, and then I sort of just withdraw from my coat the dream ritual book, and I go, perhaps you could tell me what you think of these particular pages, and I show him to the actual ritual itself in the book.
He studies it for some time. Well, I'm not really an expert in black magic, but it looks like this might be something that could have possibly some positive impact here. It would be consistent with the writings of Toporov. Where did you find this book?
In Magda's possession.
Perhaps she suspected that this could be a way to cure her. Sorry, I can't help but notice you are also in the preliminary stages of this disease, are you not?
I believe so, yes.
If my theory is correct, this must mean that you also have the immunodeficiency. Do you perhaps have any connection with Russia? He looks at both of you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have worked with Russian associates from time to time. What do you mean, like that I would have relations there?
I don't know. Anything might help there. Would it actually be okay if I took some tests? I might actually be able to tell you fairly definitively if you've actually contracted this disease or if it's something else.
If it doesn't take too long, but I'll be honest, we need to get some sleep soon, and I don't think there's much more we can discuss tonight.
If you give me about half an hour, I mean the test will show pretty quickly. I have a pretty good indicator, I think. Just if I can get if I can get a blood test and scrape off some of your skin, he starts to, take up a test tube and all that. Are you okay with him taking the tests?
Sure.
All right, let's get this over with.
He takes the blood test and he scrapes off some skin from both of you. Just give me 20 minutes or so. You can stay here. Sound Benches is on. Yeah, you like that as much as I do, I hope.
Yeah. It's a good show.
He disappears. Sandmention unfortunately ends pretty much exactly as he leaves the room, and an episode of DuckTales begins. So from East German communist puppets to Disney, all on the same channel. The world sure has changed.
Do you want a coffee? I'm just gonna get some.
Sure, yes, I'd love one.
In the episode of DuckTales, Scrooge's nephews are trying to figure out just who Gizmo Duck's secret identity is. They fail. Dr. Richter comes back after about 20 minutes, just as he said he would. He still looks excited, but there's something a little bit sad in his eyes. He sits down. He has some paperwork printed on a dot matrix printer. Points to the data. So the indicators are all positive. I regret to inform you that unless a cure can be found, you will succumb to this disease in much the same way that Magda did. So 2 to 6 months. He seems sad and excited at the same time. Yes, 2 to 6 months. That's the best as we can tell. We don't have an exact time of when Magda was infected or cursed or whatever it may be. But based on what we know from Lyubimov and Toporov's writings and what we know from Magda, that's I guess about the time frame I would give you. I know that's very heavy news to have to accept. I would be really honored if you would allow me to follow this disease's progression. I mean, perhaps we can learn something from what you're going through, something that will allow us to cure this in the future. But we should probably look for a cure while you're alive, for you, also. Yes.
What do you mean? Do you want us to come in for a regular test? Is that what?
Whatever you're able to do, whatever data, or if you can come visit here, you're welcome at any time. I'd be happy to help you in any way that I can. I have access to the full, medical records here, and there's plenty of things that I can find out using the systems here. Obviously, that's there's certain things I shouldn't be giving out, but
can we take these books?
Yes, of course. Please go ahead. You can take the books, and if there's any other records or anything that I can get for you, we'll definitely make sure to give you that. But just one thought that struck me here is, if we follow Toporov's theories, then black magic should be able to do the trick. So, do you know who may have given you this curse?
Do we?
I have several theories. I'm going to have to investigate them, unfortunately, for the moment.
I mean, do we know how it's given? Is it in person? Is it someone touching you, feeling you, or draining your blood and casting an incantation over it with candlelight?
This all began after the night of the party. My belief is that must have been when it was cast.
By someone there? By who did we see? We saw Magda, and we saw a couple of her friends at the Slavic Association. We saw who did we see there? Yeah,
Philip Kramer,
Anton Mahler, and Alexander Sasha Pogodin.
Yes, all of them close associates of Magda's. Kramer especially. I believe they might have even been romantically involved at one point. I found a photo in the apartment, Bjorn.
Yeah, okay. Huh.
I also found a photo of her husband, the late Lev.
So, alright, these all have Russian association. Is Philip Kramer Russian as well? Kramer doesn't sound very Russian.
It's it's unclear. You might need to do some studies of that. It's certainly a name that can be found in these regions, and there's of course been a lot of connections between these countries in history. So,
all right. Well, I think we need to pay him a visit. He's the one that wrote this, right? He's the one that's writing about the curse.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. All right.
Dr. Richter speaks. I'll have a look at Magda Orlova's file, because we have it here, her medical records. I'll see what I can find. I'll continue doing research here on my end. If it's possible, if you could come back here a little bit later today, now it's around 7 in the morning. I can definitely see that you guys need some rest. If you could come back here a little bit later today, I'll share whatever else I've found, and we can have another look to see if there's any progress with the disease as well. Well, I would very much appreciate it, but of course, do as you wish.
Do you know of any herb sellers in the vicinity?
I think the best place to go to find, herbs or anything used, for various rituals would be the occult bookshop Mantra. The bookshop Mantra. You know the owner and proprietor of that establishment, a woman named Erika Holler.
Ah, I see. Yes, no, I've been there. I suppose I've forgotten the address. It's been a while. Could you just refresh my memory on it?
It's on Franklinstrasse. You'll find it immediately.
I thought it was, yes. Thank you. I'm going to need to make a stop there. I think that's all, Doctor. I think we need to go for now. I look to Bjorn.
Yeah, it's time.
All right, well, get some rest. And yes, as I said, if you have time, please come see me, and I'll share whatever I have found on my end.
Sure. Dr. Richter, we appreciate your time.
Oh, no problem. Let me lead you back. I don't want you to get lost in the in the labyrinth that we have here under the hospital. That would be a pity. So he starts to lead you back and takes you back up to the ground floor, and yes, you find yourself at the exit and entrance to the hospital. What do you do?
I remark to Bjorn, I don't believe he means us any harm, but to be honest with you, I don't really see how much he can do to help either. He's just looking for his own answers. We don't need his answers, we need to find our own, if you get my meaning.
Yeah. I think his reasons are more to study us, actually, than to help us. These books, though, are interesting, and his theories are interesting, too, about the whole Russian origin thing and the connection to the, the autoimmune deficiency.
It certainly grounds some of this a little more in reality, at least, which is always a good thing.
Yeah. So let's get to the car.
Bjorn, you know that the Schlosspark Hotel is close by. It's a 4-star hotel, as you recall. You've stayed there once. It was decent.
Carver, do you need a place to put all the books? Do you want to put it in the back, or...?
I'll put them in the back for now.
Okay, I go to open the trunk.
You go towards the trunk of your car. There's something there that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be there when you look at the trunk from the outside. There's a smell coming from the car.
I look at Carver. Okay. Do I recognize this smell?
You have smelt this many times before, and you know exactly what to expect to find in the trunk of your car. The question is just, why would that be there?
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the campaign The Black Madonna for the tabletop role-playing game Kult, Divinity Lost. The Black Madonna was originally constructed by Gunilla Jonsson and Mikael Petersen in 1991, with additional material for the 2017 edition by Marco Berman, Mattias Fredriksson, Petter Nallo, and Robin Liljenberg. Kult, Divinity Lost is published by Helmgast. The music was created by Atrium Carceri and is used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel to hear more excellent dark ambient. A new episode of Red Moon Roleplaying is released every Friday. Please like our Facebook page and give us comments, input and feedback there. You can also visit us at redmoonroleplaying.com. Finally, a big thank you to all supporters. If you want to show your appreciation and encourage our work, look out for us on Patreon and see if you want to support the show there. While the show will always be free of charge to our listeners, Patreon supporters will have access to extra material, such as a bonus podcast where we answer your questions about the campaign and role-playing games in general. If you just can't wait, you can even get access to the full-length, raw and unedited versions of our gaming sessions way before they are released as finished episodes. Thanks for listening. Looking forward to meeting again next week.